India's big warning to Pakistan. Defense Minister makes intent clear.
देश के ऊपर आंख उठाने वालों को मुंहतोड़ जवाब दूंगा। जैसा आप चाहते हैं वैसा होकर।
Prime Minister Modi meets top defense officers. All eyes on India's response. Nervous Pak warmongers. India's Pakistan punishment. Big focus on 5 Live. Pahalgam continues to be our top focus story today as well. The Prime Minister met with top defense officers after meeting the Army and the Navy chiefs over the weekend this time. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has also sent out a strong warning today. That is our big talking point this evening on 5 Live. I'm Sneha Mordani. Close to 2 weeks have passed since the horrific terror attack in Pahalgam. Last week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave the Indian Armed Forces complete operational freedom to respond to the attack. He's also promised that terrorism would be wiped out, warning of unimaginable punishment for those behind these acts. Home Minister Amit Shah echoed this commitment, vowing to avenge the cowardly attack and emphasizing that the world stands with India in its fight against terrorism. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh further highlighted Modi's leadership, calling it decisive and unyielding. He pointed out that the Prime Minister has mastered the art of taking risks and delivering when it matters. Under the Prime Minister's leadership, he said, India is ready to make sure its promises are fulfilled.
अब आतंकियों की बची खुची जमीन को भी मिट्टी में मिलाने का समय आ गया है.
India making it clear there will be definite punishment for Pakistan for killing innocents in Pahalgam. After Prime Minister Modi's big assertion that India will pursue terrorists to the end of the earth, comes a big vow by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, who said that the response India has been waiting for will definitely be delivered by Prime Minister Modi.
साथियों, एक रक्षा मंत्री के रूप में मेरा दायित्व है कि मैं अपने सैनिकों के साथ मिलकर देश की सीमाओं की सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित करूं। और मेरा यह दायित्व है कि अपनी सेना के साथ मिलकर देश के ऊपर आंख उठाने वालों को मुंहतोड़ जवाब दूं।
Days ago, Home Minister Amit Shah had vowed that India will use all means to punish Pakistan terror audacity, with a chilling "chun chun ke marenge" promise.
मैं सभी आतंक फैलाने वालों को कहना चाहता हूं कि लड़ाई का अंत नहीं है। हर व्यक्ति को चुन चुन कर जवाब भी मिलेगा, जवाब भी लिया जाएगा।
India, which has ramped up its defense preparedness, is using all means at its disposal to make Pakistan pay. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman approached the Asian Development Bank to choke Pakistan's financial funds, which could stall Islamabad's economy already in doldrums. India has also barred Pakistani ships from its ports and banned all imports, including direct trade via Atari border.
हमारी जो फार्मा कॉस्ट है, अगर हम उससे कंपेयर करें पाकिस्तान को कल यूरोपियन यूनियन से दवा लेनी पड़ेगी तो उनकी कॉस्ट रफली 4 से 10 गुना बढ़ जाएगी। तो उसका खामियाजा पब्लिक को भुगतना पड़ेगा। दूसरी तरफ हमने देखा, हमने पूरा मेडिकल टूरिज्म भी बंद कर दिया है। बहुत से पाकिस्तान के पेशेंट इंडिया में आते तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली इस डेवलपमेंट के बाद वो भी नहीं आ पाएंगे। तो पाकिस्तान को बहुत चुनौतियों का सामना करना पड़ेगा। इंडस्ट्री के ऊपर प्रेशर भी आएगा। अगर ऑर्गेनिक केमिकल ऑटो कंपोनेंट इंडिया से नहीं मिलेंगे तो उसके ऊपर भी प्रेशर आएगा।
The Indus Waters Treaty is on hold, and India is also stopping water from key dams like Baglihar and Kishanganga. The YouTube handles of Pakistani politicians, including its Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and celebs, have been banned under the digital strike. Will India's multi-pronged strikes bring Pakistan on its knees? Bureau Report, India Today.
The defense minister talking tough today, saying that whatever the people of the country expect, that is something that's going to be delivered vis-a-vis retribution that has been promised by this government on not one but on several occasions. Let's take a look at what's happening on the ground as far as important meetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned. Today, the Prime Minister met Defense Secretary. Defense officials met with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, briefing him about the current situation. Remember, important meetings that also happened over the weekend. On Sunday, the Prime Minister met the Army Chief, AP Singh, and on Saturday, which is the 3rd of May, the Prime Minister met with Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi. We have some news coming in at this point in time. Let's take a look at these developments coming in from the national capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the Prime Minister's office. He is there after meeting the Defense Secretary. Piyush is with us for the very latest on that. Piyush, give us a sense of what is expected, given that the Prime Minister just today had met with the officers of the Defense Secretary and the other officers of the Defense Ministry.
Well, Sunil, as you are speaking, the Prime Minister is present there at the Prime Minister's office, which is there at Raisina Hills at North Block, and he is meeting with a few officials of Prime Minister's office. What we are learning is that in this meeting, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval could also take part, but what we are also given to understand is that Prime Minister is going to stay there at Prime Minister's office for the next 2.5 hours. So it's going to be a long drawn meeting there at Prime Minister's office. And remember that earlier in the day, Prime Minister also met with the Defense Secretary R.K. Singh at his residence. And in the last more than 1 week since Pahalgam attack, we have seen how PM Narendra Modi holding series of meetings. He had cut short his Saudi Arabia visit, and the moment he landed in Delhi, he was briefed by NSA Ajit Doval, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, and other top officials from Foreign Ministry. After which, the very next day, Prime Minister held the meeting of a Cabinet Committee on Security, and series of actions, diplomatic actions were taken against Pakistan. And after that, multiple meetings have been chaired not only by Prime Minister but also by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, with their concerned officials. And the last big meeting which took place at 7 LK was the meeting in which Rajnath Singh, Ajit Doval, all tri-service chiefs were present, in which free hand was given to security forces. Prime Minister was reportedly quoted where he said that free hands has been given to security officials. In fact, they have been told to decide target, mode and timing, the way in which they are going to retaliate back to the terror which is being sponsored by Pakistan. So, in the last few days, we have seen series of meetings being chaired by PM Narendra Modi, and as we are speaking, he is right now present at the Prime Minister's office, where he is meeting with his few senior officials of Prime Minister's office. And earlier in the day, he met with the Defense Secretary. Yesterday, he met with Air Marshal Chief Mr. AP Singh, and day before yesterday he met with our Navy Chief. So multiple meetings have been chaired by PM Narendra Modi, and as we are talking, he is still there at PMO, where he is holding meeting with senior officials or some officials of Prime Minister's office. Absolutely,
these are close one-on-one strategy meetings. Hectic weekend as well, with these important meetings that were held today. He met with the officers of the Defense Ministry. Essentially, what's brewing is the big questioning, and whether are we really edging to, closer to the moment of reckoning is the big question right here. Piyush, I'm going to thank you for the moment, getting us those details at this point in time. More news coming in. The Russian president is expected to visit India for the annual summit between both countries later this year. The Ministry of External Affairs has said President Putin called Prime Minister Narendra Modi and strongly condemned the terror attack in Pahalgam. He conveyed the deepest condolences on the loss of innocent lives and expressed full support to India in the fight against terrorism. He's emphasized that the perpetrators of the heinous attack and their supporters must be brought to justice. I'm going straight across to Shivani for more details on that story at this point in time. Shivani, what more can you tell us as far as this meeting is concerned? We have a statement from the Ministry of External Affairs, importantly conveying the message that was sent out by the President of Russia.
Sneha, today Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with the President Putin, and it was a very elaborate talk that happened. It was majorly concerning about the Pahalgam attack, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi not only briefed President about what has happened and how India is moving ahead with its long-term strategy against terror, and President Putin not only condemned the act of terror that happened in Pahalgam, but he also said that India has all the right to take action, what it thinks is right. And in this conversation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that he is not able to visit Moscow for the Victory Day parade, because remember on 9th of May he had to visit there, but due to the situation, the evolving situation, he had to cancel his plan, and then the Defence Minister also could not visit, and another representative will be there. The MOS Defence, in fact, will be there for the Victory Day parade, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his invitation to President Putin for the summit here, for the annual summit, for which President Putin would be coming to India later this year. He is expected to visit India, and this phone call means more than just a conversation, Sneha. This is how Russia stands with India in this time when India is preparing to hit the terror nexus hard, and this also strengthens the ties between both the nations, both the leaders, the bond between both the leaders, and how Russia is a strong support in India, for India, in its fight against terror.
All right, I'm going to thank you for the moment. Getting in those details is Shivani tracking that big story for us. Now, 12 days since the Pahalgam terror attack, India isn't staying silent. In the days since the deadly strike, India has launched a series of diplomatic offensives aimed straight at Pakistan. Pakistan is rattled, appealing to the West to mediate peace. Now the European Union foreign policy chief has called on India and Pakistan to show restraint, warning that escalation doesn't help. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar hit out at Western hypocrisy. In a sharp retort, he made it clear that one must preach only what they practice, adding that India isn't looking for lectures but equal and respectful partnerships.
Well, look, when we look out at the world, Samir, we look for partners. We don't look for preachers. Particularly preachers who don't practice at home what they preach abroad. Europe, I think, has entered a certain zone of reality check. Now, whether they are able to step up to it or not, it's something we will have to see. But from our point of view, if we are to develop a partnership, there has to be some understanding, there has to be some sensitivity, there has to be a mutuality of interest. And there has to be a realization of how the world works. And I think these are all work in progress to differing degrees with different parts of Europe. So some have moved further, some a little bit less.
I'm going straight across to Gaurav there, the External Affairs Minister. Gaurav, not mincing any words, saying that, stop preaching us. We know how to do this. We know how to handle this. We don't need your endorsement. And also, the last thing we need at this point in time is preachings.
There's a clear message from the External Affairs Minister. We need partners, not preachers. And the West, for a long time, used to preach something that they did not practice on their own. They used to preach dialogue and diplomacy, even to deal with a radical Islamist terror state like Pakistan, or to deal in the past many times when India had to deal with the situation along the line of actual control. But what did Europe do when there was a conflict between Russia and Ukraine? They immediately, scaled it up and provided weapons to Ukraine to combat Russia. So the External Affairs Minister says two things. One, when it came to China and LAC in the past, that at least India wasn't advising what the West had been advising India to do more trade, but that was in the past. In this case, India is very clearly saying that you need to realize our realities. When those Pakistani terrorists come to Pahalgam, they single out tourists, ask them their religion, and then they massacre those who are Hindus and let go those who are Muslims. It's a very clear signal that the radical Islamist terror state is sending out. And these are not just non-state actors, these are actors that are backed by the Pakistani state. India's very clear appreciation of the situation is that people, radical Islamists like Asim Munir, are complicit in this. Now, clearly, there cannot be a dialogue between a perpetrator of terror and a victim of terror to find a solution. where India has been a victim of terror for over 4 decades. Pakistan has followed the same playbook. Initially in Punjab, where they used the Khalistani elements to bleed Punjab, then the Kashmir issue, and when they send in radical Islamist terrorists, India bled across the length and breadth of that country. For now, it's restricted to Kashmir. At least there is a fight back on getting the world to understand India's position. The External Affairs Minister also making it very clear, some countries understand this more than others. A very strong statement of support for India, like you just mentioned, had come from Russian President Vladimir Putin, not just to take down terrorists, but also those who back them. Similar statements have been made by the United States of America, including by their Secretary of Defense, and by France President Macron. So some countries in Europe are on board. Others may take some time, but they will come around. Look at the way Pakistan gets support from countries that have been helped by India in a very difficult situation. Countries like Turkey, for example, when they sent, an anti-submarine warfare corvette. It's symbolic, but yet they did. Or China saying that China stands with sovereignty of Pakistan. Sovereignty of Pakistan is not the issue right now. The issue is Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. Is the world united in dealing with it? Or perhaps India will have to convince the world a little more while India continues to take action against these radical Islamists to ensure Indians are kept safe from their terror.
All right, Gaurav, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Gaurav Sawant, they're putting that story into perspective. And even as tensions between India and Pakistan continue to escalate, India continues its diplomatic strike against Pakistan, with sources telling us that India could be soon approaching terror funding watchdog FATF, which is a financial action task force against Pakistan.
In the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack, India is planning twin financial strikes on Pakistan to throttle support for cross-border terrorism. Sources say that India is likely to actively pursue getting Pakistan back onto the Financial Action Task Force, or the FATF grey list. India is also expected to raise concerns over the International Monetary Fund's $7 billion aid package to Pakistan, alleging misuse of funds for terror-related activities. The deal for the 3-year aid package was finalized in July 2024. Pakistan was put on the grey list of the Global Money Laundering and Terror Financing Watchdog in June 2018. Pakistan was removed from the list in October 2022 after it committed to curb terror funding. Because of being put on the FATF grey list, Pakistan suffered losses amounting to $38 billion between 2018 and 2022. If reinstated, the FATF grey list status will increase scrutiny on Pakistan's financial dealings, potentially restricting foreign investments and capital inflows into the country. There will also be strict scrutiny of finances in Pakistan. The move may even downgrade credit ratings of the country. And lastly, imports and exports of the country may become costlier. India is likely to engage with key FATF member states in the coming weeks to garner support for its move ahead of the next plenary session. Apart from downgrading diplomatic relations with Pakistan, India has suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, closed the integrated checkpost at the Atari Wagah border, cancelled visa services for Pakistani nationals, and closed its airspace to Pakistani flights. The centre has also banned 16 Pakistani YouTube channels and blocked the Instagram accounts of Pakistani stars.
After the Pahalgam attack, multiple global voices have come India's way, and global partners are acknowledging that Pakistan has been involved in terror attack in Pahalgam. India will be formally going and pushing Pakistan to the grey list with the help of the global partners of FATF. This is Shivani Sharma with camera person Abhishek Singh for India Today.
All right, let's tell you about the numerous times that Pakistan has violated ceasefire in Nowshera on the 4th of May. This is what happened, violation of ceasefire, and it's been endless since. Again on the 4th of May in Kupwara and Rajouri on the 3rd of May, in Sundarbani on the 3rd, Mendhar sector on the 3rd, in Aknoor on the 2nd, in Uri on the 2nd again, 2nd of May. Kupwara on the 2nd and Aknoor, Poonch on the 1st of May. Nowshera too saw violations by Pakistan on the 1st of May. Kupwara again on the 1st of May. In Pargwal, the international border, on the 30th of April. 7 days after the attack in Pahalgam. On the 28th of April, we saw this happen in Kupwara again. In Neelam on the 26th of April. In Kupwara again on the 27th. Lipa Valley saw violations on the 24th of April. Tutmari Gali on the 26th of April. Baramulla on the 28th of April. Uri on the 22nd of April. Pahalgam terror attack, remember, took place on the 22nd of April. Poonch again saw violations by Pakistan on the 27th, Nowshera on the 29th of April. Sundarbani, like I said, on 29th, Aknoor on 28th and 29th. Pakistan, meanwhile, continues to violate these violations actually for the 8th consecutive day. Indian forces have intensified counter-terror operations with jungle searches and combing operations underway. Additional troops are deployed and 25 overground workers or OGWs have been booked under the Public Safety Act. Over 250 people are under surveillance as villagers demand firm action against Pakistan. India Today's Shivani Sharma brings you this exclusive ground report from Naugam sector in Jammu and Kashmir.
As India prepares for a long-term action against the terror nexus in Pakistan, in Jammu and Kashmir, there is heightened security after 2 weeks of Pahalgam terror attack. We are right now in North Kashmir, and this is an interior belt of Handwara district where you see the security forces, especially the Jammu Kashmir police, is on a high alert mode. The operations against the OGWs have been intensified and the movements are being thoroughly checked and scanned. This is the operation that goes on 24/7 in all the districts of Jammu and Kashmir, and especially in Kashmir after the Pahalgam attack. There is a special vigil on each and every nook and corner.
पहलगाम का जो अटैक हुआ, हमारे बेगुनाह लोगों को वहाँ कत्लेआम किया गया। उसके बाद हमारी जो यहाँ की फोर्सेस है वो बिल्कुल एकदम रेडी हालत में तैयार हैं। जैसी हमारी जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस है, आर्मी है, सीआरपीएफ है, वो सब तब से जो है बिल्कुल यहाँ डिप्लॉयड हो रखे हैं और पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देने के लिए हमारी फोर्सेस बिल्कुल एकदम तैयार खड़ी हैं।
हमारे होम मिनिस्टर साहब है और प्रधानमंत्री साहब है, ये सक्षम है। हमें उम्मीद है ये पक्का कुछ न कुछ निर्णय लेंगे अच्छे। और बाकी हमारी सिक्योरिटी फोर्स बिल्कुल अच्छी है, हमारी आर्मी बिल्कुल लोगों के साथ सहायता करती है। हम एलओसी के नजदीक रहते, हमारे साथ बहुत अच्छा है। यहाँ की पुलिस सब कुछ हमारी अच्छी व्यवस्था यहाँ पे चलती है।
You see the movements, as I was telling you that this road leads further to the border areas. There are several border villages from which the ceasefire violations have been reported in past 11 days. So the vigil is high. The operations are intensified. The forces are on a high alert mode. Any kind of movement is being checked thoroughly, and more than 25 OGWs, the overground workers, have already been detained only in Handwara, and 250 suspects are also under scanner. So the operation goes on. And one more important thing, Handwara has been a place where the IED was also neutralized a few weeks back by the security forces. So very sensitive zone, and in Jammu and Kashmir, in several places, we see similar operations happening, and this road leads to Naugam border. This is the area which leads to Naugam border, a sensitive area where we've seen how the preparedness has gone up after the ceasefire violations. The villagers are being made aware of the SOPs of the situation right now, and this is one such Naka where you see heightened security, and similar is the picture in a number of places in Valley. This is Shivani Sharma with camera person Nasir Aziz Khan for India Today from Handwara.
I'm going straight across to Shivani, getting in more details of the story, joining us from Ground Zero at this point in time. Shivani, talk to us about what do you see? We just saw your ground reports and how you've spoken about tightened security. Of course, India being the ante at this point in time, but a big question mark on where are the perpetrators of the terror attack that took place 13 days ago, 22nd of April. All of those people have still not been found. Give us a sense of what are you picking from the ground right now?
Sneha, where we are reporting from right now is the interior of Kashmir. We are visiting currently the North Kashmir side where the ceasefire violations have already taken place since last 11 days. We've reported from those villages. We've spoken to these villagers. They say that they have been hearing and witnessing the ceasefire violations. And when we talk about the search operations that are going on 24/7. It has highly intensified here. Sneha, when we talk of the Pahalgam perpetrators, the police and the other security agencies along with the army, the forces are on a lookout for them. And the combing operations are going on. But in all the other places in Jammu and in Kashmir, the OGWs are being hit hard, the suspects are being checked, and the intense operations are going on. There are certain directions from the government and from the army, the security forces, not to reveal the movement and not to reveal what's actually currently happening. So we have to be cautious while reporting. But I must tell you that this is one of the biggest operations against terror that's taking place on ground here in Jammu and Kashmir. We also see how the Army, the Navy and the Air Force have been preparing for a long-term strategic action against terror. They've been speaking to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They've been telling him the progress, briefing him about what are the plans. And this whole plan is under process. And while this is under process, everybody wants to know when the action will take place. So the assurances are also coming from the Prime Minister and from the Defence Minister in different statements. As we've heard Defence Minister saying that he's bound to give a karara jawab, a muh-tod jawab. So all this is happening on ground where we are reporting from. We are seeing action against terror. We are seeing intense combing operations and CASO drills that are happening in the jungles of Jammu and Kashmir, where the security is heightened. India is responding to the ceasefire violations along the line of control, while the preparations are still on for a strategic action against terror.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Shivani getting us up to speed with those details as far as action on the ground is concerned. She's telling us about how security has been tightened across this entire region. And staying with this, major water crisis is now unfolding across Pakistan. After suspending the Indus Water Treaty, India is now resuming 6 stalled dam projects. This move comes just a day after India blocked 2 key dams on the Chenab River for Pakistan. Take a look.
After the recent attack on tourists in Pahalgam by Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, India is striking back. After putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, the Narendra Modi government is taking more concrete steps to block water flowing into Pakistan. India has closed the gates at 2 major dams on the Chenab River, Baglayar and Salal, massively reducing the flow of water into Pakistan. This has put Islamabad in a state of panic. And India's actions don't just stop here. The Narendra Modi government is also planning to shut down water flow from the Kishanganga Dam on Jhelum River. With the water levels dropping and pressure mounting, Pakistan is crying foul.
सिंधु हमारा है और सिंधु हमारा रहेगा। या इस दरिया से हमारा पानी बहेगा या उनका खून बहेगा।
From a diplomatic offensive to exploring military options, India is making it clear that Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror will no longer be tolerated.
श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि इस घटना के अपराधियों को धरती के अंतिम छोर तक ढूंढकर दंडित किया जाएगा और दंड ऐसा होगा जिसका कोई पूर्व का उदाहरण नहीं होगा, यानी अभूतपूर्व दंड दिया जाएगा.
This time it's not just retribution, it's calibrated retribution.
So this is a very stern message to Pakistan that we are not going to tolerate terrorism that is being sponsored by Pakistan against India. And we can give befitting reply to Pakistan. We can stop water to Pakistan, and we can deprive Pakistan of every drop of water of all 3 western rivers. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Akhnur in Jammu and Kashmir for India Today.
And my colleague Gaurav Sawant is explaining the Indus Water Treaty. Take a look.
The Jal Shakti Ministry is working on a feasibility project on better harnessing the waters of the Indus rivers for the benefit not just of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh in the short term, but in the medium and long term for the rest of the country. So Jal Shakti Minister C.R. Patil has been instructed by Union Home Minister Amit Shah to work to ensure India works quickly on multiple projects that Pakistan was objecting to and throughout. River desilting, for example, reservoir flushing projects, for example, and these are just some instances that India is now going to start working on very fast. Pakistan has repeatedly objected to desilting project. Sources are telling India today that multiple projects that have been held up due to Pakistan's objections, now these projects will be taken up on a war footing for better utilization of the waters of the Indus rivers, and not just the Satluj, Ravi and Beas, the eastern rivers that are meant for India, but also Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, the western rivers. India can officially utilize 20% of these waters. Pakistan didn't even permit that. Imagine. It would cry foul, it would go to the Court of Arbitration, it would go to the World Bank, it would object, it would delay. But now the treaty is in abeyance. So for the betterment of people of Jammu and Kashmir, and remember, Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah, has already said the Indus Waters Treaty was not in favor of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It did not benefit the people of Jammu and Kashmir. This is one more step that the Narendra Modi government is taking. It's not just about the eastern rivers, like I said, Satluj, Ravi and Beas, but also western rivers, Chenab, Jhelum and Indus. The rivers that flow through Jammu and Kashmir and also in Ladakh. There are multiple projects that were cleared post Pulwama, some in 2019, some in 2022. They are now being speeded up. What is India doing? And you're hearing this on India Today, and this is Pakistan's worst nightmare coming true. India is working on building 10 hydropower projects that's totaling 6.8 gigawatts in Jammu and Kashmir and in Himachal Pradesh to fully utilize its share of the waters under that 1960 Indus Waters Treaty with Pakistan. The projects being undertaken, and that's a huge investment that's already being made. It's 68,000 crore rupees by NHPC Limited. Now they're part of the plans to exercise our right, India's right, to stop excess water from flowing into Pakistan. The projects are being constructed by the public sector undertaking. Let me list out some of these projects. It will be heartening for you, and it will be a nightmare for those radical Islamist terrorists, because they now have to choose. They either want water or they want to continue bleeding India. Blood and water cannot flow together, that's very clear. So the 1,000 megawatt Pakaldul project, the 850 megawatt Ratle project, the 624 megawatt Kiru project, the 540 megawatt Kwar project. These are projects in the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir. India plans to build 1,856 megawatts in Sawalkot. Now that's to harness that kind of electricity. It's in Jammu and Kashmir. 930 megawatts of Kirthai. This is part 2 in Jammu and Kashmir. Dugar in Himachal Pradesh, that's 500 megawatts. Then there's Uri 1 and there's stage 2 of it in Jammu and Kashmir. Then the Dulhasti stage 2, which is 260 megawatts. These are some of the projects I'm telling you in Jammu and Kashmir. But that's not all. The Narendra Modi government has cleared 8 hydropower projects of 144 megawatts on the Indus River and its tributaries, even in Ladakh. Now the project, the highest of these projects that will come up in Kargil and in Leh districts of Ladakh. So the Durbuk Shok project, it's 19 megawatts, but then it's good for the people of Ladakh. In Shanku village, it's 18.5 megawatts. Now, this is music to the ears of people who live in either Durbuk or Shyok region. It's great for environment because now it's not that expensive diesel electricity that they will have to generate power through diesel generators. Whether it's the security forces, the army that's deployed there, or the locals, they can get water from the Indus rivers, electricity from the Indus rivers and the tributaries. Shanku, for example. Nimu project, Nimu chilling project, 24 megawatts. Rongdo project, 12 megawatts. Ratannag, it's 10.5 megawatts hydropower project that's been cleared for Leh. The Mangdum Sangra projects, again 19 megawatts. The Kargil Hundarman, it's 25 megawatts. Imagine how this will be a game changer for the people of Ladakh, of Leh, of Sanku, of Minji, of Kargil. It's amazing what will happen, and there is no Pakistan that can object to it anymore. They've been cleared for the Kargil region. It's a huge step that's been taken. So under the Indus Waters Treaty, when Pakistan was granted waters of the Western River, Indus, Chenab and Jhelum for unrestricted use, India was granted the Eastern rivers, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. India gives 80% of the Western River water for Pakistan. It does not even harness the remaining 20%. Now there are plans, some already there, some that are now going to be speeded up. What is the advantage that India now has? And I want to explain this to you. You're looking at those projects, you're looking at the Eastern River projects, and look at the Eastern River projects closely. The Satluj, Ravi and Beas. The 5 rivers that flow to Punjab, Satluj, Ravi, Beas, Chenab, Jhelum, Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir, and undivided Punjab initially. So look, Eastern rivers for India, Western rivers was for Pakistan, but Uri, Baglehar, Salal, Pakaldul, Chutak, Nimu, Basgo. These are some of the projects, some that were held up, some that government has cleared, and some where work will go on. What's the big advantage? No inspection by Pakistani officials needed now. So Pakistan cannot stop your projects at all. It can do nothing. No restriction on flushing of rivers. For example, the Kishan Ganga reservoir. Pakistan would object to it. So if you can't flush, if you can't desilt, then you can't hold water or hold sufficient water. You can't generate enough electricity. No operational restriction on filling of reservoir. You can flush when you want, you can fill just when you want, and not just in the month of August, the peak monsoon period. No data to be shared with Pakistan.
And moving on, she's become the face of the 22nd of April Pahalgam massacre. The image of Himanshi Narwal, wife of Naval Officer Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, is imprinted in every Indian's mind. Himanshi and Lieutenant Vinay were on their honeymoon when Pakistan-backed radical Islamist terrorists opened fire at the Baisaran Valley. A newlywed-turned widow, Himanshi put up a brave face as she paid tribute to her naval officer husband. She declared she was proud of him.
We should all be proud of him in every way.
Now she picks up the pieces of a life shattered by terror. Himanshi Narwal has become a target of online hate. Anonymous Twitter handles have been making claims about Himanshi's life as a student. Why? Because she gave a message of unity in the aftermath of the terror attack. Now the National Commission for Women has stepped in. Listening to what Himanshi had said earlier that invited this toxic flag online.
People going against Muslims or Kashmiris, we don't want this. We want peace and only peace. Of course, we want justice. Of course, the people that have done wrong with him should be punished. People going against Muslims or Kashmiris, we don't want this. We want peace and only peace. Of course, we want justice. Of course, the people that have done wrong with him should be punished.
And we have more news coming in at this point in time. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi at South Block. That's the information we have with us at this point in time. I'm going straight across to Piyush. Piyush, yet another important meeting of the Prime Minister, this time with the National Security Advisor.
Well, so Sneha, what we're now learning is that National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is also present in the meeting, which is right now underway at the Prime Minister's office. Remember that PM Narendra Modi had reached here half an hour back, and he is right now holding meeting with senior officials of Prime Minister's office. And what we're told is that NSA Ajit Doval is also present in that meet. Sources further indicate that PM Narendra Modi is going to stay here at the Prime Minister's office for the next 2 hours. And during this interval, Prime Minister is going to hold a series of meetings with Prime Minister officials. Remember that in the last more than 1 week, Prime Minister has been chairing multiple meetings with various officials from different departments. He had cut short his visit of Saudi Arabia. He met with NSA Ajit Doval on the very day when he reached Delhi, in which S. Jaishankar was also present. Officials from Ministry of Foreign Affairs were also present. And Prime Minister, so far since the Pahalgam terror attack, has held 2 Cabinet Committee on Security meetings and multiple meetings with various officials. And right now, as we are speaking, Prime Minister is meeting with senior officials of Prime Minister's office. And in that meeting, what we are told is that NSA Ajit Doval is also present. Shreya.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Piyush, getting asked that big story at this once again, a one-on-one strategy meeting between the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister as we speak. More news coming in. This is Mamata Banerjee's big claim on Murshidabad violence. Mamata says Murshidabad violence was pre-planned. Chief Minister says few religious leaders sparked communal tensions. Will reveal Murshidabad violence plot soon, is what the Chief Minister has said.
কারা করিয়েছেন প্ল্যান করে, কি করে করিয়েছেন, কিভাবে করিয়েছেন? আমি এই কটা দিন ধরে অনেক ক্রস চেক করেছি, রেকর্ডও করেছি। কারা করেছে, কিভাবে প্ল্যান করে করেছে। আমি নিজে হিন্দু নই, আমি নিজেও তো হিন্দু পরিবারের মেম্বার, তো আমি কেন হিন্দু মুসলমান করব? কিন্তু আমি যখন চেয়ারে থাকি বা কোনো রাজনীতি করি বা কোনো সংগঠনে থাকি, আমার কাছে হিন্দু মুসলমান শিখ খ্রিস্টান জৈন ঈসাই পারসিক সবাই সমান।